Hi guys, welcome back to the Yan City channel. Basically just going to discuss quickly obviously our new signing and also that horrendous derby. So yeah, we have to get onto that. But yeah, first of all, just in regards to Guehi, obviously there's been a lot of rumours for a while. I didn't actually think we would get Guehi simply because, and I think I said it on my last stream, simply because there was so many clubs he was linked to, and I just felt like if we didn't get him in January, the chances of getting him in the summer is a lot more difficult, because obviously you've got a lot of clubs offering him incentives, and I think he might not have come to City. So yeah, I'm happy we've done that. I think it's a good signing. He's homegrown. He's reasonably young for a centre back, 25, but not too young that he's not experienced. So I think he's probably the perfect balance from what we need. You know, Josko's young. Diaz is on the older side now, and then you've got obviously Stones and Aki who are at the end of their sort of careers. So yeah, it's nice to get someone in that's experienced. You know, he's a captain, he's a good leader, seems like a really nice guy as well, like Semenya. So yeah, it's nice to get these players in. You know, he's hungry to win. And yeah, I'm happy with the signing. There's a lot of talk about his salary, which is high. If it's true what's being reported, I'm hearing anything from sort of 180 to 300. 300 is a lot, obviously, but I think what they've probably done is, if rather than give him a sign-on bonus, they probably just put it into his contract. So rather than giving him, basically it works out the same as 200k a week with his bonus, to give him 300k a week. So they probably went with that. Obviously, for financial fair play, all the guidelines you've got to stick to, it probably looks better if you've not paid him as much up front. So yeah, that's probably their reasoning behind it, if it is that fee. But yeah, you can, when you kind of break it down and see how much it costs overall, it's not the end of the world. Like I've said a few times, if you go back into that window in the summer, bear in mind, I think we lose 3 centre-backs in the summer. Akanji goes, Ake goes, Stones goes, that's 3. If you go into that window, everyone knows you need a homegrown, because 2 of them out of the 3 are homegrown players. So we go into that window, we need a homegrown centre-back. I just think the prices are going to be crazy. You know, we were paying how much for, I can't remember how much Stones was, but Stones was expensive back when we bought Stones. And that was years ago, you know, when only the best players were going for big fees. So yeah, I don't want to end up in that sort of situation in the summer where we're desperate and we end up paying well over the odds for someone who's half as good. So yeah, I'm very happy with that. I hope he settles in well. I hope he is able to win trophies. It's nice to see these players come in who are like, we want to win, you know, because I feel like City was so used to winning, it was the norm, and it was like everyone that came in sort of got a trophy without really doing anything. Whereas these players that we're buying now, they're going to play a big part if we do win trophies. So it's nice for them. You know, Jack Grealish came in, won a treble, and people are still trying to discredit him now, saying it wasn't him, it was the team, even though I think he played a part in that treble. He played the most minutes out of pretty much everyone in the team. Do you know what I mean? Bar Edison, I think. So yeah, he definitely played his part. But he gets discredited because people look at the bigger picture. Oh, well, they had a great team. They've got Pep, etc., etc. So it'd be nice for these players to come in, and if they do win something, they will have played their part in it. So yeah, I'll get into that in a bit. Let me just go to the comments first. Ryan, as usual, with his analysis. You know, you were telling me City were winning the league not too long ago. City letting the whole Premier League down. I think the whole Premier League are letting themselves down. You know, I think Arsenal are better than everyone else, but Arsenal's still not good. It's a weird league because, you know, realistically, for us to drop as many points as we've dropped in the past 4 games and still be 7 points off the top is ridiculous. We should be nowhere near the top. We shouldn't even be top 2, let's be honest. In another season, if you don't win in 4 games, you drop from like 2nd to 5th or 2nd to 6th. maybe even worse in some seasons. So yeah, I don't know what's going on with this league. It's almost like Pep saying, I don't want it, you take it. Arteta's saying, well, I don't want it, you take it. And Emery's saying, well, I don't want it, you guys take. So yeah, it's a bit of a mess. The good thing about it being a mess, though, is if you do put a run of games together, you can be in with a good chance of winning it. I don't think we'll win it this season. And I know I did say before that I thought we might. That was more to do with the gap not being too big. But I think we haven't capitalised like we normally would. You know, normally in a season like this, we beat Brighton at home. You know, at the bare minimum, we beat Man United's different because it's a derby. There's a lot of feeling there. You know, we took shit teams and beat Man United back in the day. So that one is a little bit different. There's a reason behind that beyond us just not, you know, not being good in that game, which we'll get onto. But Brighton at home, I expect you to win that game. You know, Chelsea, another team that on their day they can turn up against us. I still think we should have seen out that game, but you can kind of argue I wouldn't have gone in there putting my whole life savings on the fact we were going to win. Whereas Brighton at home, I expect us to win that game at the bare minimum. Sunderland away, not an easy place to go, but they've got players at AFCON. So again, that's another place where we should have picked up points that we didn't. So yeah, I'm not too happy with that overall. In another season, it's a completely different table right now. Either way, you know, if we drop this many points, we go down. But also, if we win 2 of them games, we're right behind Arsenal. So it's a bit of a weird league. It feels like Arsenal win every week and we don't, but the points are not really saying that. So yeah, we'll just have to see. The best I can hope for as a City fan is that we stay in contention. I would love them points to, you know, drop and us be closer to them if possible. And I think if we can be sort of within 5-6 points before they come to the Etihad, you know, we're in with a chance. I'm not saying we're going to win it, but we're in with a chance. And I think it's always good to be in with a chance of winning the league at a latter stage. So we'll have to see. Do I think it's going to go that way? Probably not, because we're not scoring goals. And you need to score goals to win games. So I think if we were scoring like we were at the start of the season, you know, I know a lot of it was Haaland, but we always play through Haaland. So it is not surprising that he scores more goals than anyone else, because if you watch City, when we have the ball in the box, they're looking for Haaland. A lot of them are not trying to have a shot, they're trying to look for Haaland, which I think when it works, great. When it doesn't, try something different. But yeah, I'll get onto that as well. Big up LFC. Sai says, big up Jan. Sarcasm City TV raid. Thank you guys. I can't do raid yet because I've not got enough subscribers. So subscribe to the channel. But yeah, it's nice for you to come over. Ravi says, big up Jan, long time. Hope you're well. Yeah, I'm good. How are you? It's been a long time. Nathan says, big up Yang, you good? I am all good. I'm so much better than I was last time I did a stream. I had this flu. My throat was fucked. Matheus Nunes apparently has this. I feel for him. I really do. But he's fitter than me, so he should recover quicker. But yeah, if he has that, his throat's going to be feeling mash up. So yeah, I do feel sorry for him. Get well soon, Nunes, because that's another player that we need. Jan, YouTube, didn't recommend your streams, but good to see you live. Yeah, it's rare. I don't really go live as much as I should, but I'm trying to be better. Moby says, big up to you. Jan, thoughts on how you set up versus United? I'll get on to Man United in a bit. Ryan says, City have had tactical issues all season. That's why I said they won't win the league. Yeah, but you changed your mind and then you went back. I don't think Grealish has a future at City. I actually think he leaves in the summer. I think either Everton make it permanent and they sign him, or another Premier League team will probably sign him. I don't think he comes back. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I like Grealish. I think Pep likes what he does, because he's never afraid to sort of, if he loses the ball, fight for it back at the other end. Not all of our players do that. Some players stop running. He doesn't do that. So I like that from him. I think Pep would take him back, but me personally, I don't think he comes back. I think there's the players that I think will leave in the summer is the 3 centre-backs, Akanji, Stones, and Ake. And then I think Kovacic will probably go because he's just not available. And City try to get rid of players that aren't available. I don't know what's going to happen with Calvin Phillips, but he's not in City's plans, so he'll either leave or he'll run out his contract and he'll be gone at the end of it. And yeah, I think Grealish also leaves. Not sure other than that because obviously there's only so many that can go. But yeah, I think that's my opinion of who leaves in the summer. But yeah, we'll have to see. There's always a surprise one. There might be someone that we think's going to stay, but they decide not to. I don't know. And Ortega as well, but Ortega's already kind of in talk, so he might leave this month. But yeah, there's that. What are your thoughts on people saying Guehi can't play in a back four? Yeah, I don't really understand that. I think he's a good centre back. I think he'll be fine. You know, England play in a back four, don't they? So yeah, don't really understand that because he says he's happy to play with Stones. Obviously, he's not going to be playing with Stones unless Stones gets fit and comes back at some point. But yeah, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. I think he'll be all right. Your team let me down, yeah, City. Now I need to avoid the YouTube thing when Arsenal win the league. I know, man. City are they're so annoying because it's not even like we're playing games and teams are just so much better than us and then they're beating us. Like, we're just not scoring goals, like, but we're not even having shots. Like, it's not even a case of the goalkeeper's been busy. The goalkeeper's not been doing fuck all. So that annoys me more because I'm like, if you go for it and you don't win, I'm always okay with that. Like, people that have known me a long time, if City don't play well and we don't win, I think sometimes it's easier to deal with than when we're really good and we get unlucky. When you have them games where just nothing's happening for you, it's hitting the post, it's hitting the bar, it's just nothing is going well for you, and then you lose at the last minute, and to the other team's first shot on target. Them ones, they're quite hard to take. But when we're shit, like we were in the derby, which I'll get onto, you just have to say, like, we wouldn't have got anything from that game regardless if we'd have carried on playing for another hour. We just weren't at it. And yeah, I don't know why we weren't shooting either. Just weird. Their goalkeeper had fuck all to do. Guy acting like as soon as City came in, he wanted to go. He was staying at Palace for the rest of the season until he got offered over 300k a week. No, he wanted the bonus that he was due, which you would have paid him in the summer. So he was always going to get that money. He just wasn't going to get it over that period of time. So yeah, but I mean, it's one of them things. Players, when they join clubs, they always come out and say, Wirtz probably would have said the same joining City as he said joining Liverpool. It's just what they do. They come in, they always say, it's the best club. I mean, at City, they always say, I'm here to win trophies. Every single player says that. And yeah, it's just one of them things. So yeah, I don't think it's a personal thing. I just think that's what they do. They always say it's where they want to be, and then they get offered a better offer, and next month they're gone. So yeah, we'll have to see. The only time when I would say it's more like they've chosen the club is in situations where they've had offers from certain clubs and they picked that club. So Semenyo had offers from other clubs and he chose to join City. So I'd say with him, it's more of a case of you've picked that club over other clubs. Same with Haaland. Haaland, City and Madrid offered him the same money and he went to City. So that shows when they've like picked the club over another club. Bernardo Silva, everyone thought, I think United fans were tracking his playing because he was coming to United. They ended up signing for City. So players like that, you can argue that they picked the club over the other. But then there's others like Guehi. I think if Guehi stays till the summer, I don't think he becomes a City player. But they've offered him an incentive to come in January and, he's jumped at it. Fair play to him. Do you know what I mean? It is what it is. City fans going in on Haaland. If it weren't for him, you'd be below us. I think with Haaland, there are people that take everything too far. They always do. There's people that want Pep out, which absolutely crazy to me. But yeah, people always take things too far. What I would say about Haaland is he is in absolutely shit form right now, and he has not been good the whole of this month. He hasn't. And a lot of people look at previous seasons and say Haaland in January is never good. Like, I wouldn't have really noticed that because he was injured last season around this time. So I didn't notice it last year as much, but yeah, he obviously has this dip in form, but he plays so many games, he's knackered. So I look at it of a point where it's kind of like he needs resting more than he's a shit player. Like, he's not a shit player. He's the best striker in the league, but he is going for a blip and he should be called out for it. You know, this is one of our highest paid star players. And I don't think the effort is there from him, which I'll get onto in terms of the derby, but he's not putting the effort in that he needs to put in. It's fair enough if you're not scoring, that's fine. Everyone's going to have season, you know, parts of the season where they underperform, but you have to give it everything. And I feel like he's not so right now. So I understand the criticism, but Haaland is Haaland, you know, it's form is temporary. Class is permanent. So we know at some point he's going to get back to his best, but it needs to happen sooner rather than later. I really thought the derby would be his game where he's like, right, I'm back, but he didn't, and he again looked like a passenger. So I understand the criticism. Everyone deserves criticism when they're not playing well, and yeah, but people are taking it too far, saying he's shit and he needs to go and all that crap. Yeah, I don't agree with that. I don't think Pep wins another league at City, to be honest. I don't know with Pep, because Pep, he's always said the whole time he's been at City that if things start going poorly, he won't run the club down. Like, he knows when when he's finished, it's time to go. He's not gonna do like a Wenger where people switch on him and they want him out, and you know they hate him, and you know it's every week it's Pep, get out my club. He doesn't want that. So when he feels like he can't give what he needs to give to make us successful, then he will step aside and let someone else come in. He has always said that. So I don't know when he leaves. I think if he wins, because there's 4 trophies at play, so it's not like it's the league or nothing for Pep. He has chances to win things. But yeah, I think if he had another trophy this season, then I think he might leave at the end of his contract, which I'm not happy about, because I don't see who's better than Pep. Like, there's no one that we can bring in who's better than Pep. So these fans that have these high expectations, when Pep leaves, you need to bring it right down, because we'll go back to being like everyone else, where you win 1 league title, you can't retain it, and then, you know, if you're lucky, you win another one 2 years later, kind of like Mancini and Pellegrini, where we were in the mix but we didn't always win it. It's not going to be like Pep, where we win 3-4 in a row. That's Pep, you know. So we won't be as dominant, but it's not normal to be as dominant as City have been, to be fair. So yeah, probably be more like Liverpool now, where you win 1 and then don't win it for a few years and then win another. It'll be more like that. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, let's not talk about that draw at Forest, but yeah, it's going to be one of the most inconsistent seasons in my opinion. Yeah, I just think everyone's just not. A lot of Arsenal fans talk about the mentality. You know, a lot of people got onto Rodri, but I've heard so many Arsenal fans pretty much say what Rodri's saying, like, you need to capitalise. And Rodri wasn't slagging off Arsenal, really. He was just saying that, like, City have that mentality that you go into these games in a title race to win them, because he knows that a draw is basically a loss. I don't feel like we've drawn 3 games. I feel like we've lost 4, because in a title race, losing and drawing, it's the same thing. If you lose 2 but win 1, it's the same as drawing 3. And I think a lot of fans don't really grasp that. So like, oh, we've not lost in 3 games. Yeah, but you've not won in 3 games. Whereas if we'd have lost to Chelsea and Southampton but beaten Brighton, we'd have the same amount of points. So it doesn't, to me, it doesn't make too much of a difference. The only difference is goal difference, obviously. But then if you win 5-0, you know, then it's great. But if you win 1-0, it's only +1. And if you lose the other 2 by more than 1, then it's still a minus. So it's better to draw in that circumstance. But yeah, I don't know. It's just one of them things where it's like, for me, draws don't accomplish anything. And I think that's why a lot of the titles between Liverpool and City were so tense, because Liverpool wouldn't even lose. They'd draw and then not win the league. And their fans used to be like, this is so frustrating. And I've always said it. draws are what kill you in title races, and that's what changed my mind about us winning the league when we started drawing. But yeah, we'll see. It's a long way to go. 7 points in a title race is not that many points. Like, we've dropped how many in the past 3 weeks? Like, it's possible to drop points. Do I think City will capitalise on that? Not right now, no. So yeah, I still think Arsenal will win it, but yeah, it should be easier than it is. That's all I would say. Big up to Flawless every time. Thank you for the raid, even though it's a bit of a weird. You can't do it normally. Run up the likes. Definitely run up the likes. Definitely subscribe if you haven't already. Big up to Sammy every time. The days of me, you and Flawless on Q&As, that was so long. I missed that. I missed that. We definitely need to jump on a Q&A, definitely. Flawless, set that up if you're still watching. Lewis says, or Louis, might be Louis. Yes, Yashan, hoping we get a win tomorrow for automatic qualification. Boy, do we need it. We definitely need to win tomorrow. If not, Galatasaray at home, again, is a game that I would expect us to win, but yeah, City are a bit bipolar at the moment. I don't know which City is going to turn up. I told you Rice is not better in any way than Rodri, sorry. Yeah, exactly. I'll see. Jan, question, who do you see Mark Guehi partnering with the most when he plays? Oh, it will depend on availability. I think Jasko Vardiol is actually our safest player in terms of that back four. I know Diaz is like a captain and Pep loves him, but I actually think Vardiol is the one that he's less likely to drop. Vardiol offers us a lot, defensively, going forward, corners. There's so much that he offers. So I think he's the safest. I think with Diaz and Guehi, that will be where the sort of, who does he come out for? Who does he go in for? Sorry. But right now he'll start with Kusanov because they're the only ones that are fit. I love Kusanov. I really do. He's great. He's a great player. He's been doing really well. I think Pep's comments have changed a little bit in regards to him because when he first came, Pep used to say things that didn't sound too encouraging, when he played. And I honestly think, I said this the other day, I think he's our unluckiest player because I feel like when I watch him, he doesn't do much wrong, but we will end up losing or drawing or conceding goals, and then people are like, yeah, he's shit. And it's just like, if you watch him, he's good. It's weird. It's just a weird thing. Whereas Ruben Diaz, when you watch him, I don't think he is necessarily always as good, but we will keep a clean sheet. And then it's like, well, I don't know. It's weird. Like, maybe other City fans disagree with me. Maybe they do agree. But I just feel like Kusanov is brilliant, but he just gets a bit unlucky sometimes with the results. I do feel for him. But yeah, I think it will be him and Guy for sure. For now, anyway. Vardiol's out for the season, so he won't be coming in. And then you've got Diaz, who will be back at some point. So when Diaz comes back, it might well be Diaz and Guy. That's who I would predict that Pep will go with. But yeah, it just depends how he fits in. He might come in and he's just not good enough. Then he won't play. But if he comes in and he's solid, I think Pep will kind of stick with him. He strikes me as someone that Pep would like, Guy. So yeah, I think we will see him. I didn't want Guy anyway. There's other good centre backs out there. There is, but I think with City we need homegrown. It's a little bit different with other clubs. I think with City we had a homegrown problem, like registering them for the Champions League, etc., etc. It's much more difficult when they're foreign. Till the summer when people leave, then we can bring in foreign players. But for now, this January window, I said it before it even started, it was always going to be homegrown players. Sorry, I got hiccups. Mind you, I did hear that Haaland was getting dunked on by Tyron Lannister the other day. I don't know what's going on with Haaland right now. I wouldn't say we're Haaland FC, but I would say that we try and play through Haaland. Everyone's always looking for Haaland, and I think some days it's just not your day. You can see games where you're like, right, Haaland's not going to score today. It's just one of them days. On them days, you need to take chances yourself, and I feel like, for me, I said the other day, Rodri is winding me up because Rodri has one of the best shots in our team. every time he seems to shoot, it goes in. And we've been struggling to get goals and he's not been scoring. And the one time he took a shot, it went in. And I'm just like, it frustrates me because I'm like, honestly, if he has a shot against Chelsea, probably win. If he has a shot against Brighton, we probably win. And I know he's just come back and he's not at his full fitness level yet, which is probably why he hasn't. But at the same time, it's like, come on now, you are like the heart of our team, man. Just have a shot. Like, no one's having a shot. So if you have a shot and it goes over, it's not the end of the world. So yeah. Your early thoughts on Semenyo and what you think he'll bring to City longer term. I really like Semenyo. I think he's come in. He's someone that wants to put the ball in the back of the net, and I feel like a lot of our players, they like to pass. And sometimes it's great, you know, you can play your tiki-taka football, but I think with the way the league is at the moment, like most teams are solid defensively, you know what I mean? Like it's not easy to break down these low blocks. And, you know, even when you do, like these teams are so good defensively. That's why there's a lot of 0-0 draws. If you look at the Premier League this year, there's a lot of 0-0s, a lot of like good defending from both teams. And, you know, teams at the bottom of the league will come and get a clean sheet. Which I feel like that didn't happen as much. I might be wrong on this, but I feel like it didn't happen as much a few years ago. It felt like it was more of an open game. So yeah, I do think when it comes to this sort of tiki-taka thing, I get it. It's worked for us. It's won us everything. But I think some days just shoot. Like there's a chance in the derby that Doku got, and he takes a touch. And by the time he takes his touch and then gets the shot off, there's a United defender right there. And it's like, if you actually hit that first time, that's going to be a shot on target and probably goes in from where he was, you know. So I think you have to take them chances. And I feel like sometimes we just try and do too much. And there's some days where if nothing's working for you, just try something different. You know, the amount of times we try and go down the same, you know, another thing about the derby, there was 2 United players on yellow cards and Doku didn't really try and take them on. It's like they're on a yellow card, like at least try and take them on. If they take you out, you know, they probably get sent off. It just didn't seem like they were trying, but I think that's a whole different thing. But yeah, in general, I'd expect you to like try and have a shot or something. I don't think Pep's never going to get sacked. Pep will leave when he's ready. I would love Enrique to replace Pep, but I don't know. I don't know when Pep leaves because Pep really wanted to stay. But I think because of the way things are going at the moment, I'm not so sure he does anymore. Flawless says Pep needs to retire already. You've won it all. We have, to be fair. When he's ready to go, he can go. But I love Pep. I'd never, ever, ever be Pep out. But he's right. We can't draw anymore if we're serious about winning the league. It's true. Yeah, both you and us can't afford to draw. Draws are criminal. The league is done, and to be honest, Arteta's title was coming generational manager. This is the guy who used to slag me off because I said that I thought Arteta was going to be a good manager, and he used to get on to me about how he's shit and he's Pep's cone boy, etc., etc. And now apparently he's generational. Let's put it this way: if Pep was the manager of Arsenal, this league's wrapped up. It's 11 points minimum, and everyone knows that. It's calm. I got you. We can run it tonight. Let me know. Yeah, let's do that. Ryan can't come. What a shame. I mean, we can still do it. But yeah, it's up to you. Let me know. Sorry guys, trying to get to where I was. Haaland just needs a goal to regain confidence. You know what strikers are like. They bag one and then usually go on a run. Yeah, it's weird with Haaland because he got that penalty. I know penalties are a bit different, but he got that penalty and I thought, right, that's it. Because Haaland, I don't know if you probably haven't noticed as a rival fan, but Haaland, when he sort of gets like 199 goals or like 149 goals, he kind of struggles to get over the record. So there was a time where he had 99. And it took him ages to get that 100th goal. But then once he got that 100th goal, he was fine. And he was on 149. And then he got a penalty. And against Brighton. Was it Brighton? Brighton, I think. And he took the penalty and he scored. So I thought, oh, he's over that threshold now, and then he hasn't scored since. So yeah, I don't really know what's going on with Haaland. I think he is knackered. He definitely is knackered. He's played so many games this season for club and country, So yeah, for me, I think he needs a rest. When he gets a rest, he'll be fine. I think tomorrow's game is perfect for him. He's going home, Norway. He's played on that pitch before. He knows what to expect. It's an artificial pitch. I don't want to see Rodri anywhere near that starting lineup. I don't. I know we need to win, but it's not worth it. I do not want to see him playing, to be honest. Maybe he can come on if we need him, but I don't want to see Rodri anywhere near that. But yeah, I expect that Haaland will want to score in that game. But if he's not good again, I'd take him off at half time and give Marmoush a run out, at this point. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Rodri doesn't want to shoot because he doesn't want to get injured. Yeah, I figure that. I figure it's because it's just come back. But he did have a shot against Exeter. And it went in. Like, it's just so annoying because it's not like I'm blaming him because Rodri is Rodri. It's like people that don't use context with football. And I'm probably guilty of it in terms of rivals, like when I'm bantering, like probably guilty of it myself. I don't claim to be perfect, but I think, people that say, oh, we haven't won a game since Rodri's come back. And it's like, yeah, but we have eyes. Like Rodri has improved us. The only thing I would say with Rodri is that Rodri's used to a possession team. Like when he last was in the team, City used to have much better possession. We wouldn't lose the ball as much. And he's come in and he's kind of expecting that, and it's not really happening. We keep giving the ball away. The passes are not great. It's just we're not quite the same team that he left. And I feel like he needs to adapt to that, think maybe it's not such a good idea to pass here. Let me just, do something else. And, when he first came back, he put quite a few balls over the top. Like Rodri, and this is one thing that I always say, I think he's like three players in one. He helps the defense. He controls the midfield. Obviously, we don't really have a midfield right now. I don't know what's going on. And then he also helps the attack because some of his through balls and stuff, like he has a good control of everything on the pitch. But he is not fully fit yet. He's coming back. This team's not the same team he left. We're not playing well. The team's best players, I would say, are not in form, and that's a problem. We've not got the sort of at the back, normally there's a pairing that we have, so it's obviously Diaz and Jasko, and I feel like with them you kind of have a bit more security because they're used to each other, they know what's going to happen. Obviously we make mistakes, every team does, but we're a bit more solid at the back. And I feel like now, like we've been playing games with Kusanov, who hasn't really had a run of games until now, and Elaine, who hasn't even played in the Prem before. So we've got sort of young, inexperienced centre backs behind a not fully fit Rodri and a Bernardo Silva who's on the way out of his career. Do you know what I mean? Bernardo Silva is going to leave in the summer. If I didn't mention him before, that's another player. But yeah, so it's not the same as what he left. And I feel like it's going to take some time kind of getting used to that again. But yeah, I love Rodri, and hopefully he will be back to his best soon because, yeah, he's best in the league when he's ready. I'm not so sure about that. I feel like I used to get slandered all the time. Arteta's not better than Pep. Arteta is not winning what Pep won. If Arteta wins the league this year, great, but is he retaining it? Probably not. This is what you said last season about Slot. Oh, if Slot wins the league in his first season, he's better than Pep. And then now you're like, oh, Slot can't retain it. Teams do not retain the Premier League very often. And I feel like with Pep, because he's won so much, it's almost like, oh, it's easy. Anyone can do it. Well, they can't because they don't. It's one of them things. I think if you want to say who's better this season, then I would agree with you, because I think even though Arteta is kind of choking a little bit when he should be going clear, I do think tactically and stuff like that, I think he's got it pretty... I don't want to say he's got it spot on, actually, because a lot of Arsenal fans are not happy with Arteta right now. I think he's being a bit negative. I think he's scared. He's scared of bottling it. But because he's scared of bottling it, he's then making decisions. I think at the start of the season, I would say he did very well. Now I think he not so much. There's a lot of Arsenal fans that wouldn't agree, saying that he's got it he's got it on. But yeah, I think he'll still win it. I don't think anyone. I'm not one of these fans that's going to sit here and be like, if they win it, it's shit. No, like if you win the league, you deserve to win it. If you finish top of the league, you deserve to win it. Whoever does that is the best manager. You know, if Pep finishes top of the league, you can't turn around and say, well, he wasn't the best manager this season, because even though he's getting a lot wrong, and it's fine to criticize Pep. I'll never be Pep out, but I will criticize Pep because he's not getting things right. You know, there's a lot that he's got wrong this season. I personally think in the early days of the season, before, or especially before AFCON, I was saying he should utilise Aït-Nouri, because Aït-Nouri got injured and he came back, and there was a few weeks before he went to AFCON where he was available and Pep didn't play him, and Marmoush, who was available at that time. Again, he's had injuries this season, but he was fine and he was available. And Pep, rather than playing them, he kind of stuck to the same team that he was playing, which obviously our fans were very happy with. They liked it. They liked it. We were winning, you know, we were doing well. But because of that, these same players have now been running to the ground. So players like Vardiol, a little bit different because that tackle is what broke his leg. So it's a little bit different, but he still was overplayed. Diaz, his injury is probably due to him being overplayed. So I feel like we had centre backs there. We had Kusanov on the bench who was fit and available, and he didn't utilise them enough. And then what ended up happening is O'Reilly, who had been playing really, really well for us, he's played a lot of games now, so he doesn't look as sharp, you know. Whereas if he'd used Aït-Nouri, then when, you know, Aït-Nouri went away, O'Reilly would be fresher, you know. And then Marmoush, Haaland looks washed, and he's not washed. It's just he's knackered, you know. He is knackered, so his form's not great as well, but he is knackered. So if he'd have played Marmoush in them games, then he could have brought Haaland on. It's not saying you've got to stick with this team for the whole game if you put them out. He could have brought Haaland on if it wasn't working or he needed a goal. But you have to reduce his minutes and give Marmoush some minutes, because it's resulted in this where Haaland's now not scored very many goals. So yeah, I think he should have utilised his squad better. Pep has always said that he likes a small squad. He doesn't like, you know, having too many players that he can't, you know, use every game. I get it. I do get it. But in this league, with the injuries that we have and the amount of games we play, you need to be smart about it. And yeah, he didn't utilise his whole squad. We have had a lot of injuries this season, so I do feel sorry for him in that respect. And I feel like when players come back from injury, they do need to kind of play their way back into form. So it's a bit of a tricky one, to be fair. And it's our fans as well, because every time Pep doesn't play the exact squad that they want, everyone starts going off, you know. So he's stuck between a rock and a hard place. But still, as a manager, you have to manage your squad a little bit better than he has been. So yeah, I mean, Klopp was the same at Liverpool. He had his favourites and he kind of played them every week, which is fine. But when there's injuries and stuff, now you've got players who haven't played, not in great form because they've not played, you know, they've not had a run of games, and then you've got to then bring them in and be like, win now. And it's like, you can't really do that. Whereas if you bring someone on 20 minutes here, 30 minutes there, start them in the next game, 20 minutes there, 30 minutes there, then when you need to play them in the next game, they're fully ready to go. You know, they know what the players around them are going to do. It's so much better. And yeah, he just, you know, even when he brought Marmoush on as a sub, it was sort of five minutes, you know. It's not enough. Like, you have to play him. Now I think if I'm Pep, I'd probably start Haaland tomorrow because it's in Norway. And then I would bring Marmoush on, you know, give him a good half to kind of get into. Hopefully we're like 2-0 up by half time, and then you can bring on Marmoush, give him a bit of time to get back into the flow. Next game, Wolves at home. There's no reason why you can't start Marmoush in that game. Play Marmoush, half time. If he hasn't scored or he's not doing well, bring on Haaland. You've got 45 minutes to go and win the game if we're not already winning, you know. And then in the next game now, Galatasaray at home, I want to say. No, Spurs away. Spurs away. Then, you know, you can go back to playing Haaland if you want to play Haaland there. Do you know what I mean? But I just think if you need to use Marmoush in that game, he's already settled in, rather than going Spurs away, Haaland gets injured, and then you've got to bring on Marmoush who hasn't played. You know, it's not the right way to go about it. But Pep knows more than me. But yeah, definitely needed to utilize his squad a little bit more. Just like Cole Palmer, he's also carrying an injury. It's true. It's hard when you're back from injury because you're so scared of getting injured again. And the thing is with the ACL is that you are likely to get other injuries based off that. So he definitely is playing back into form. But I mean, the level between Rodri, you can see how much better we are with him on the pitch because everything else isn't working. And I feel like he's really isolated in that midfield at the moment. The results aren't good. But yeah, Rodri is incredible. Obviously, overall, Pep is clear of Arteta, but at the moment, right now, Arteta is better. Yeah, I wouldn't say. I think with Arteta, like Arteta's taken a very long time. He's got his squad together. He's got a good, solid team. They've got depth, Arsenal. So it's almost like whoever he plays, they do well, you know. And he will rotate more than Pep. He will. And because of that, when he brings off a player off the bench, they've had enough minutes to kind of settle in straight away. They don't have that sort of awkward stage where it's like, right, they've not played in 3 months and now they're coming into this squad and they've got just expected to be good straight away. So yeah, I definitely did get slandered for saying it. I did. I've got an eye for talent. I did say that the Arsenal job I thought was too big for Arteta because I feel like with Arsenal, you're one of the big clubs in the league. You have to win. And I feel like because Arsenal haven't had the success in recent years, I feel like a lot of the fans are kind of just okay with it. But I do think, like, you know, if he doesn't win this season, then I think serious questions have to be asked because it's like, how close can you get? What gap do you need to get over the line? And I really think he will get over the line this season, by the way. But I'm just saying, if he doesn't by any way, shape or form, I don't know where you go from there. You can't fluke the league. Sammy says you can even get lucky and win a Champions League. Yeah, it's true. It's true. I think with the Champions League, it's just about having good 90 minutes. You know, the league is a different thing because if you have a dodgy 90 minutes but you win, the next week that other team have been watching what you're doing and they'll be like, yeah, I can see where they're struggling. So we're gonna attack that, you know, we're gonna attack that player because that player's not playing well, etc., etc. Whereas I think with the Champions League, because it's a different competition, you know, obviously teams do watch and see like, oh, you know, who can we target, what can we do? I do feel like because it's a different competition, some players they're up for it more, you know. They always used to be, even if Foden was having a quiet time in the Prem, you know, when the Champions League used to come on, he was on it, you know. There's Mahrez was another one. They're sort of Champions League players. So you get some players that will step it up for the Champions League. So yeah, even if you've had a dodgy game against Wolves, you know, you can go into the Champions League and still win. So yeah, it's one of them things. I think it'd be hard to win it by fluke, but you can definitely if you get the right side of the draw, you get a couple of, you know, winnable fixtures. Yeah, you can definitely get far in a cup competition. Ryan says he thought he'd never be slot out. Yeah, well, you're everyone out. Whoever the next manager is, you'll be them out soon anyway. Nathan says, I'll take our football from the 22-23 season and mix that with our solid defence, and I think we'd be clear, honestly. But yeah, the attack defo lacks in parts. Yeah, I think you were better in that season. I honestly think that's when Arteta should have won it. And that's why I'm a little bit critical of Arteta right now, because I'm like, City were not good in 22-23. Sorry, not 20. Yeah, 22-23. That, I'd say we got good sort of after the new year. That first part of the season, I think, if I remember correctly, I don't think we were great, because I remember our fans were saying around Christmas time, we're going trophyless. We're not going to win anything. We ended up winning a bloody treble, but we weren't great in the league, like compared to what we had been in the year before and the year before that. I think City were kind of just, we were in all four competitions and we were kind of spreading our energy across all four. Well, all three of the others. We obviously, the Carabao Cup, I think we went out quite early in that, but the others, you know, we kind of split ourselves equally across them. So I don't think we had like the season of our lives or anything like that, but we managed to win it. Obviously the FA Cup, we got to the final and then we played United and won. And then the Champions League, I thought we were very good in the Champions League. We didn't lose a single game. We were really good in the Champions League. And obviously we ended up winning it in the end. But yeah, I think the league was probably out of the three, probably the weakest for us. But my memory's not great. But from what I remember, that's kind of what we're saying. And same with 23-24. Like, I don't think City were really special in that season, to be fair. I feel like we just won it because we were, you know, there and thereabouts. And at the end, we just went on this run and won it. So, yeah, it's a weird one. I think Arteta, he has to win it, surely. He has to. If you're Mark Saka, oh, if you mark Saka and Odegaard out the game, you're able to nullify us, to be honest. And we barely use our left-hand side. I think with Arsenal, like, people are just clocking on. And it's the same with City. People clock on that we're going to do tiki-taka. We're going to pass a million times. And because of that, what ends up happening is, you know, if you stop City's balls getting into the box, you stop us from scoring, you know, and that's why I'm critical about some of our players, because I feel like sometimes if it's working successfully, if they're defending well, you know, if they're having a great game, just try something different, because if you shoot from outside the box, that nullifies the whole defending, you know, because if you put a good enough shot in the top corner, it doesn't matter who's defending, it doesn't matter how well they're playing, you're going to score a goal, you know. So I do think sometimes you just got to try something different. And I feel like the way City play at the moment is very one-dimensional. And I think it's very easy to kind of stop. And I feel like with Arsenal, it's kind of the same. If you stop Arsenal from set pieces and mark out your creative players, you know, there's not much that's going to happen. And yeah, so it's I think the league, it's a weird one because everyone says the league is shit, and it is to an extent. But at the same time, I feel like the shitter teams are getting a bit better. Like I say, I think they're more able to keep clean sheets than they used to. Like, I remember years ago, like, you'd watch Man United on TV and you'd be like, they're going to score, like, they're going to win, you know, and it was only if the other team sort of scored 3 goals or something, they won the game. Whereas now, like, you know, if it's 0-0, anything can happen. You take that into extra time, one shot, one corner, one, you know, misplaced pass, one accidental, you know, slip or something, and next minute they're in and you've lost. So I don't like them 1-0 score lines. 2-0 used to be dodgy, but people aren't scoring as many goals right now. So I feel like if you score 2 at the moment, you probably won the game. Which never used to be a thing, you know. 2-0 used to be really dodgy if they got back in it. But yeah, it's a weird league at the moment. Thomason, big up to you, says hello, Jan. We are playing shit football. The manager doesn't like attacking. I think he's just scared. Like I said before, I think he's just scared of dropping points. But sometimes you just got to go for it. You know, you've got to have that mentality that we are the best and we're going to win, you know. And I feel like if you don't win, you don't win, you know. I think Arsenal had nothing to lose this weekend. City had lost. You know, Villa, okay, fair enough, they could have won. But Villa are a little bit bipolar like City, you know, so I feel like he should have just gone for it. You know, if you don't win, you don't win, but go for it because you didn't win anyway, you know. So yeah, we'll have to see what happens. Thomas in supports Arsenal. Nathan. Odegaard is just a disgrace. Never rated him. He's a fraud. Do you know what? Odegaard, for me, like, I think he's a good player, but when they were comparing him to De Bruyne, I was like, that's just not the player. That's the sort of Ryan assumption, where Ryan would be like, oh, comparing everyone to everyone. But yeah, I've seen a lot of Arsenal fans kind of get onto Odegaard. Quite a few are getting on Saka as well, because he's not really helping Gyökeres out. But yeah, I think, I don't know. I wouldn't say I watch Arsenal enough to be like really critical about how you play and stuff. Odegaard hasn't done anything worth screaming about. I think Eze in. Yeah, I like Eze. I really do like Eze. I was kind of annoyed when you got him because he's someone Pep always used to talk about. I don't think necessarily we need him, but I didn't want him to go to Arsenal. Yeah, it's taking your chances. That's what Rodri was talking about. Just going into every game with the desire to win. If you don't win, you don't win. It's football. Anything can happen. Like I said, one little slip in the 90th minute and you can find yourself losing games. But I think if you don't go for it, and this is where I will get onto the derby, City in that derby were an absolute disgrace, right? And yeah, I think for me, derby day, form goes out the window. I've seen Man United treble winning teams, like these brilliant teams, that have won everything, winning the Champions League, winning the Prem back to back, these sorts of teams lose to Man City's teams when Man City were not good. Like I've seen it happen, we've taken points from them mainly at Main Road, but also we went to Old Trafford in 2008 and we won there, on my birthday. So I've seen us do that, and on paper, United are a lot closer to us than we were to United back then. Man United had a, very expensive, very good squad, and City didn't really. Whereas now, squad, like fee wise, we're not that different from Man United, but we are a better team, and we should be going into that game as clear favourites. The only thing that I would say that Man United have on us is the whole form goes out the window. They're at home and yeah, they're going to be up for a derby. And to be fair, we normally are up for a derby. Like normally they give fight. There was no real fight, tackles were kind of half-hearted. And yeah, I wasn't happy with what I saw. I think there's a few things you have to consider in a football game. Did you try? If you did try, were you unlucky, or was it one of them where you just weren't better? The other team were better on the day. That's fine, but you have to fight in a derby. You have to show that you want to win that game. And I feel like there was only one team that really went there with that mentality, and that was Man United. And that's why they won. And the 2-0 scoreline flatters City, which is shocking. Like I wouldn't expect that. Did I think we would go there and I wasn't one of these people predicting a 5-0 or a 4-0. It's a derby. I fucking hate derby day. Makes me feel physically sick. Hate the day. I would never look forward to a derby and never understand people that are like, oh, I can't wait for why the fuck would you want to wait for a derby? I hate it. It's a horrible day. When they win, it's just the worst. I get text messages from people I've not seen or heard from in a long time. But yeah, it's just one of them things. I don't like Derby Day, but I expect my players to turn up. And Pep, people talking about Pep, I get it. I get their concerns. I think he put out the wrong defence. A lot of people wanted Cherky to start. I did too. But Foden has to start in a derby based on what he's done previously. But his form, he's just fallen off a cliff. But we didn't know what he was going to play like in a derby. So for me, Haaland and Foden, simply because they've been the best players in our derbies previously, have to start. So I'm not against what Pep did going forward, even though I love Cherky and I would have wanted to see him play. I kind of understand why he went with the team that he went with. I probably wouldn't have gone with Doku to start. I probably would have brought Doku on as a sub. Simply because when United started to get tired, then someone like Doku coming on with full energy would have been good for us, So I probably would have started. I probably would have started Cherky and Foden, to be fair. and I would have done it. I would have done it that way. I would have started Semenyo as he did, and Haaland up front. So I would have gone with that. I think, me personally, if Nico was fit, then I would have played Rodri and Nico. But obviously Nico's not fit, so he was a little bit limited in who he could have started. Bernardo was always going to play. One, he's Pep's favourite player, and two, it's a derby. You know, if anyone's a little shit that you want in a derby, it's him. So I get why Pep started who he started going forward. Nunes, not well, he's got the flu. So I understand, obviously, he couldn't play Nunes. If Nunes is fit, he for sure plays Nunes. We know that. I would have started O'Reilly. And I probably would have gone with Aileen and Kuznov, which he did. But yeah, I think if you are going to start Ake, start him as a centre back and drop Eileen, and then play your fullbacks, proper fullbacks, you know. So yeah, I don't know. I think it probably wasn't the best lineup defensively that he could have put out. I would have played Aït-Nouri for sure in that game. So yeah, it wasn't the best. But I expect whoever Pep puts out in a derby to fucking turn up. Like, you can't tell me that Man United had a much, much, much better team than us on paper, regardless of who he started. No. Defensively, yes, we were young and experienced at the back. I understand, you know, Rico Lewis is only young, I think he's 21. Eileen is only young, and Kusanov himself is not that old. So Kusanov was the oldest defender, obviously, he played Aki as well. But yeah, so I understand defensively. I expected us, like I tweeted before the game, that I expect it to be end to end, and I think the defense might get cooked. But I did not expect for the attacking players on that field to do what they did. I just don't think they were at it at all. You know, their goalkeeper had fuck all to do. There was that one clearance off the line by Dello, which actually was Aileen that scored, had the shot. That's the only real time that they looked, you know, like they could concede. It was terrible. You know, the high line went well, to be fair. They did well with the high line. You know, there was 2 goals that they scored that were ruled out for offside. They were offside. So the high line was doing okay. I think Kusanov played well. And I think that Donnarumma had probably his best game in a City shirt so far. I thought he was excellent. But everyone else were not good enough in that game, you know. I think I don't know what it was, really. I don't really know. There's not one thing that I can put my finger on, but just no real fight, no desire to win. They didn't look that bothered, you know, like when someone scores against you and it's offside, that's a lifeline. That's a warning. So you go and do better. You don't then concede a similar goal 10 minutes later. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, not happy about it. But what I would say is we didn't deserve fuck all from the game. So it's not one of them. I think I would have been more pissed in a way if we'd played out of our skin, gave it everything, and then they nicked it in the dying seconds from that point of view. But at the same time, it's like if we did that, then I'd be like, well, you know, you gave it your all. They didn't give it their all. And they got exactly what they deserved from that game. So yeah, not happy about it. There was a lot of rumours after the game that I'm not really going to touch on because it looks like it's not true. But yeah, people were kind of spreading stuff that could have explained maybe why they were the way they were. But if that was the case, they would have just cancelled the game. So I don't think, I don't think I don't think that's true at all. I hope it's not anyway. But yeah, I think there's no excuse for that for me. I would have docked them all. They're lucky I'm not the manager because I would have docked them all. I would have given all of their wages to charity. You know, or better still, the fans, you know, season ticket holders. But yeah, no, I wasn't happy with that at all. I don't think they had any fight. I just don't think they looked like they wanted it. There was no, you know, we used to get like Company who was well up for a derby. Foden normally is. That's why I was so shocked. Foden and Haaland, normally they're up for them sort of games. Didn't look up for it, you know. But yeah, Let me see what he's saying. You were bad in the Manchester derby. Even when you were bad, you won a few Manchester derbies. Yeah, it's true. When we weren't good, we used to go and we used to be up for it. And United used to see it as another game. You know, they'd see it as, oh, it's another game. You know, obviously your Manchester-born players, they've got a little bit more passion. Like, for example, Scholes. Scholes always says he hates City. He hates City because he grew up in Manchester. And obviously, when he was at school, it was City United. So he absolutely hates them. Whereas the London ones, the ones who are not born in Manchester, they don't really get it. So, you know, there's people that are just up for games like that, like Haaland, you know, but it's a bit different if he'd have gone to school in Manchester. If he'd have grown up like where I grew up, then it would be completely different. So, yeah, you get, you know, Rashford was always good against us. And Phil Foden, obviously, is normally good in a derby. Them sort of players that have grown up around it, they get it a little bit more. And that's why I wasn't against who Pep started. But yeah, it just wasn't working. And I feel like he probably should have changed it earlier. Because I feel like he did make changes. He did. But yeah, it's a weird one because no one rates Reinders. But when Reinders plays, we have a lot more attacking opportunities. So I feel like Reinders has to play in that team. He really does. And, you know, Pep does like him. So I think he will go back into the team. But yeah, I think he kind of he has to play. It's a bit of a difficult one at the moment, just looking at the form of some of our players. But I feel like when you're not playing well, they might as well be dropped, you know, like we're playing with like 10 men. So when Haaland's not on it, we're playing with 10 men. If he's not on it, take him off, you know. This is someone who on his day is the best. Do you know what I mean? But when it's not his day, can be one of the worst on the pitch. So yeah, it's difficult. Could have been a 4-0 Man United in the derby. You were all over the place, yeah, and could have been way worse than that if it wasn't for Donnarumma, to be honest. Yeah, Man United were really good, to be fair to them. That's the only compliment they're ever going to get from me. Yeah, they were really good. They deserved the points. But I also think I feel like our players were seeing it as another game, not like a must win. And I don't like that. I really don't like that. If Odegaard and Co played that shit in the North London derby, I'd be fuming at them. That's the thing though with your derby, because Tottenham do not turn up. It's crazy. Like if you look at like the other derbies, like Liverpool mainly beat Everton. There's not really that many games that Everton will get something. Everton will try and get something, but they don't get. Maybe at home they get something. Sometimes they get a couple of draws and stuff like that. But it's mainly Liverpool. Your North London derby, pretty much always Arsenal. Like maybe once in a blue moon they can get something like a draw, but it's mainly Arsenal. The Manchester derby's a lot more equal, you know, like our wins and losses, even though we were shit for a long time, there's not that many wins between Man United and Man City, and there's quite a lot of draws in the middle. So it's way more even in terms of wins and losses than the other derbies. So yeah, it's a weird one. It's almost like anything can happen, and that's why I would never go into, even when we're at our best, you know, I wouldn't go into a derby and be like, we're gonna win. Our best win against Man United was the 6-1, and that 6-1 wasn't the City teams that were dominating leagues. Like, yes, we won the league that year, but we hadn't won it before that. That was our first league win, you know, in 2012. So, you know, that sort of game you wouldn't have expected at that time. Whereas that time when we were 4-0 up at half time, I expected us to go and see that game out, and we took our foot off the gas and it ended up being 6-3. And it was like, what the fuck? So yeah, derbies are never simple. They're never easy to predict. Form does go out the window in our derby. I don't think that's necessarily the case for the other derbies, but for ours, definitely 100%. It goes out the window. And yeah, anyone can win. Which isn't good for us. I'd rather have like a Liverpool thing where we know we're gonna get we're gonna get the points, but yeah, just doesn't happen. Carrick just outclassed Pep. Man United, I gave them credit in the Manchester derby. I predicted them to win the derby and I got it right. Haaland Foden was so bad in the derby. They've been bad all month, to be honest. Haaland and Foden. I think Foden was a little bit better against Brighton. But yeah, they've not been. They've been in poor form. Them two, definitely in particular. I think even Cherky, when he's come on, has not been what he was a month ago. I think he's still trying. He had a bit of desire in that derby that the others didn't have. But yeah, it was. I don't know. For me, it was not good enough. I think Carrick got it right, definitely. But at the same time, I think the players, like I say, anyone that Pep put out should have been up for that game. You know, like we've had much worse Manchester teams go to Old Trafford and try and look better than what we had. You know, so yeah, it doesn't really, in a derby, it doesn't really matter. I don't expect Man United to go and beat Arsenal now just because they've outclassed City. It's not that, and that's why I don't think it's necessarily just like, oh, Carrick's amazing because he's done that. Obviously, fair play. He got the win, but if it continues, then that's when I'd be like, oh, okay, Carrick's doing his thing. If they're going to get battered by Arsenal next week, then clearly it was just they were up for the derby, you know. So we'll have to see. I don't expect Man United to get anything at the Emirates, but you know, I mean, for our sake, I hope they get a draw. But yeah, I'd never say I want Man United to win, by the way. So that's why you're not going to get a win, but a draw might help us out if we decide we want to be serious in the next few months. But yeah, I wouldn't be holding my breath over that. Wine derby, Sunderland always win. Yeah, it's a weird one, that, because you'd think Newcastle. I don't know what their head-to-head is overall, to be honest. Because Newcastle were always sort of better than Sunderland, but then Sunderland in the derby, they won. So yeah, don't really know with that one. West London derby, Chelsea win a few, Brentford win a few, Fulham 2. Yeah, I think that one's a bit close as well. Like, that's not as obvious. I think Chelsea, there's games that they always get points from. I think their one is Spurs as well. It's rare that Spurs beat Chelsea. Spurs only turn up against Man City. I don't know what it is, but they love playing us. And it's just, I don't know what it is. They should play how they play against City, against Arsenal. That's what I would expect from a derby. Just give everything. But I feel like they only really do that for City, which is crazy to me because we don't have a rivalry like that. And then these same fans that are like, you know, they're not happy when Arsenal go and win the league. So it's a bit of a weird one. It's a bit weird. Nah, no more draws. Arsenal smash United into next week. We need to pull clear of this City machine. I don't think City are a machine right now. This City team, you can say. Yeah, I fully expect Arsenal to win that game. It wouldn't surprise me if Man United didn't win the next 4 or 5. That just is usually how it goes. When you win games like that. But yeah, overall, yeah, I'm not happy with it, but we get over it. We've got Bodo Glint tomorrow. Going to be very cold. It's Norway. It's like -7 or worse, -12. It's a lot. It's going to be cold. So yeah, good luck to the players. I'd rather it's them than me. But yeah, I think we need to go there. We need a win. At the moment, we're in 4th position in this Champions League table, which is good because we've dropped unnecessary points. I think the draw against Monaco was annoying because it was late. We also lost at home to Leverkusen, which we shouldn't have done. I think Pep didn't play a strong enough lineup in that game. And yeah, again, this is why I was saying before about the whole, you don't bring Marmoush in and then you start him and then wonder why he's not up to scratch. Like, you have to play these players in. If you give them half an hour in one game, give them 45 minutes in the next game, then you can start them in the next game. Don't bring them on for 5 minutes here, 8 minutes there, and then start them and expect them to be high flying, you know, same as he was last season. It's just not going to happen. So for me, he needs to play Marmoush because with our fixtures and the games that we've got, we need 2 attacking players that can put the ball in the back of the net. And I know we have other players that can, but right now it's just not happening. So we need Marmoush and Haaland flying, because if Haaland doesn't get back into form and we've got to go Spurs away, we need Marmoush, you know, so he has to, hopefully he's going to play him. I fully expect Haaland to start tomorrow for sure, but I'm hoping he brings on Marmoush. The weekend against Wolves, he has to play Marmoush. Whether he starts him or brings him on at half-time, I don't care, but he has to play because he needs to be ready for the games that we're playing. But yeah, I really rate Marmoush, so I'm hoping that he gets back in. But yeah, I didn't know Sunderland have won 7 derbies in a row. Wow. See, that's what we need to be doing. City need to be doing that. What are we doing? Like, we need to be doing that. So annoying. It's so annoying. It's worse when they're shit. Like, when you go up against a team and they're good, you can kind of say, well, you know, they're a good team. But yeah, you know, the same team that Grimsby can beat, we can't beat. It's just, it's crazy. But it's Derby Day, so I expect it to be like that. Yeah. I don't know, guys. I hope we win. I hope and pray that we win tomorrow. Is it tomorrow? Wednesday? Tomorrow? Might be tomorrow. But yeah, I hope that we win. If we do win, then we should finish in the top 8, which is what we need. I don't really care whether it's 1st or 8th, because once you finish 8th, it doesn't matter. You get the home legs in the second leg. So that's what we need, you know. I don't want to play extra games. We just don't have the squad. We don't have the squad depth for it. You know, we need to be qualifying. Once we're out of this, there's 2 more games. Obviously Galatasaray as well at home. We should be winning against Galatasaray at home, but I would have said that against Brighton and we didn't. So we need to wrap this win up, hopefully this week. And then we don't have to worry too much about the final game. Depending on where everyone else is, we might have already qualified in the top 8. We'll have to see. But if we have, that's great. And then, yeah, we go into the final game. And then once that's over, we can then register our new signings. And yeah, and then we've got a full team then that's available. So yeah, it'll be nice. We'll have to see, obviously, how far we go in the Champions League. You know, it all depends on the draw. It all depends on the draw, and it depends on our form at the time. You know, if City get a run of games together. I mean, up until that loss, we were unbeaten in 13, I want to say. Unbeaten in 13 games, which obviously is not great when you're not winning, but we weren't losing, you know. So, yeah, it's if we can go on another run, but we win instead of draw, then yeah, we've got a chance of winning something, you know. So we'll just have to see. Like I say, in the league, I just want to stay there and thereabouts. We cannot let it get to like 11 points or something like that. 9 points would have been quite damning, to be fair. 7, a little bit different, considering we've got to play Arsenal. But yeah, we're just gonna have to see what happens. I'm hoping it stays, because the worst we've been behind, I think, is 8 points with 6 games to go, and we won it on goal difference. So yeah, if you can do it in 6 games, you can do it in however many's left. Do you know what I mean? 16? You can do it in 16. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it's gonna take City just stepping it up massively, and I don't think we are going to. But never say never. I'll never rule out a Pep team until it's mathematically impossible. Aston Villa have Newcastle away. Ooh. See, Newcastle are they're a bit like Villa. Sometimes when you expect them to win, they don't. So maybe Villa win that or get something from it. We should be beating Wolves at home. I know Wolves are on a good run right now, but come on now, we should be beating them. And really, you should be beating Man United at home. But I think out of the 3, we should be the least likely to drop points, but it's City right now. Inter Milan tomorrow, yeah. I mean, you've already qualified, so I don't think it really matters, to be honest. You just want to finish maybe top. But then Liverpool finished top and ended up getting PSG. So sometimes that's what I'm saying. I don't care where in the top 8, because it all depends on where people finish below. You know, if somebody's having a poor group stage, it doesn't necessarily mean they're a shit team. You know, PSG went on to win it. So yeah, I think sometimes if you get a bit lucky, you know, and like, you know, you manage to draw someone who is not so great, then great. But yeah, I don't think it matters too much as long as you're top 8. Nathan says, and one manager you take to replace Pep that's available and realistic. I actually really wanted Luis Enrique. I think he's someone who's won the big trophies. He plays good football. I think he's the most. I don't think you can replace Pep with a Maresca or an Arteta. I think it has to be someone who is. You've gone from Pep. It needs to be somewhere where the drop off is not from here to here. Not saying they're not good managers and stuff like that. And I do think whoever comes in, because of the way the club's run, I still think they'll have a chance at being successful for sure. But I do think when you go from a Pep, you need to kind of soften the blow. It's kind of like when we got rid of Aguero, and it was like, Aguero's gone. You know, we really missed Aguero. And then it was like, oh, we're getting Haaland. It's like, it softens the blow massively. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I think to replace Pep, you've got to be getting a big name in there, and I feel like he's a successful big name that's done it in more than one league as well. So yeah, that would be 100% my choice. Long term, I wouldn't mind seeing Company at the helm, but he has to be ready. I don't want to get a Company who's not quite ready yet, because I don't think our fans have the patience that Arsenal fans have. I don't think they do. I think if Company comes in and like we finish 5th, they're gonna be like, get him out, and it's stupid. Well, not. I wouldn't say our match going fans. I mean the fan base as a whole. Our match going fans will support him through thick and thin. But yeah, I do think the fan base as a whole can be quite reactionary. So yeah, I think if he came in, they'd want him to hit the ground running. And yeah, I'm not sure he would be there yet. So for me, Enrique, and then after that we can look at a Company. Or who knows, by then there might be someone else in the mix. Yeah, we just need to avoid the playoffs for sure. I think for us, we'll get to the semi-finals of the Champions League. I can see you in the Champions League. Not at the moment. We need to start scoring goals. We need to start scoring, because this is why I feel sorry for our defence, because I feel like there's so many games that if we'd have just done what we needed to do, the defence wouldn't have been needed to kind of have the performance they have. Like, for example, against Brighton, like, defensively we did okay. Their shot from Matona was quite far out, to be fair. Like, I wouldn't really say that like our defence was to blame as such for that goal. But because we couldn't put the ball in the back of the net on the other side of the pitch, it was just like we ended up dropping points, and everyone will look at the defence and go, oh, it was Kusanov and Elaine. And it's like, yeah, but actually they played well. And they got let down by our attack. So I've put a lot of criticism recently on our attack, because if you're having defensive issues, if you know you've got injuries, if you know that like you're playing with players who, you know, haven't had the consistency of Diaz and Vardy, if you know there's issues at the back, the best way to defend is to attack. Like, this is Pep. Like, this is how Pep thinks, you know? And it's like, if you are not putting the ball in the back of the net on the other side, you can't then blame the defence who conceded one. You know, like, at the end of the day, you should always be scoring 2 goals minimum from our attack. Should be 2 goals minimum. Okay, maybe if you're going Bayern away, then that's a little bit different. But when you're at home to Brighton, I expect you to put the ball in the back of the net at least twice, you know, and you haven't done that. So now the defence suffers because they make one mistake, which, again, like I say, it was a good shot. But they make one mistake, and all of a sudden you know, we're dropping points. It's not really fair. So yeah, I don't know what will happen going forward. We need to start finishing our dinner. We need to start shooting. You know, this XG stuff, I'm seeing it and I'm thinking, well, we're not having any shots. There's no reason, there's no wonder it's 0 point something if you're not fucking shooting. You know, when you do shoot, it's blocked because you've shot with a player right in front of you. Do you know what I mean? Have a shot. If you have a shot, like, you know, some of the deadest shots are XG. Do you know what I mean? Because you shot at the keeper and he saved it, but it's XG. And then City, because they don't shoot, they want to walk it in. We'll have so much possession, but you're not creating chances. So there's no point in having all that possession if you're not doing anything with it. There's no point in having all the possession in the middle of the field. Like, there's no point. You need to actually produce something from it, you know, and I don't know. We'll have to see what happens, but I'm not really happy with City right now, how we're playing, etc. Yeah, 2012, that was the year. Man United at home, we will edge it 2-1. I don't think it'll be close. Enrique will go to Man City. I hope so. You don't want Company to ruin his legacy if he does bad. That is true, but I also think that, like, I like the fact that Company loves City. I like it. Like, and he's not a manager who has. There's some managers where they kind of just expect that job straight away. I feel like Company, like, he went to Anderlecht, learnt the ropes, then he went to Burnley. Obviously, I don't think Burnley was the right fit for him. He wanted to play attacking football. He didn't have the personnel. He's gone to Bayern. He's done really well at Bayern, to be honest. They have great players, for sure. But he's done well, you know. Not every manager at Bayern has you know, um, has won the league recently, which is crazy because you would expect them to win it every year, but not every manager has. So yeah, for him to go there and just win the way he's won, it's great. He has got the best players in that league for sure. But yeah, I think if he came to City, he'd have some of the best players in the league as well. So yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. I think, like, he would want to come back to Manchester. Like, his wife, if you don't know, is Mancunian. She's a Man City fan. So it's a little bit different to other foreign players where they're like home is there. Like, home is there for him, but his wife is Mancunian. So yeah, I think he would want to come back. And yeah, I'd love to see him back. I don't think he would necessarily ruin his legacy. There's even a lot of United fans that will say, like, you know, Ollie the player and Ollie the manager are two different things. Like, what Company was to us as a captain, a leader, a legend. Do you know what I mean? I don't think he would lose that, but he would need to know when to go. I think if you overstay your welcome, that's when it starts to become an issue. Pep's always said he won't overstay his welcome. So I think with Pep, if he feels like the fans want him out, which we don't, the match going fans don't want him out anyway, so he's never going to feel it in the ground. But you know, if he feels like he's not doing what he's there for, which is to win and be successful, then he will walk. So yeah, you kind of want that. And if Company comes in and it's a disaster, then I would expect him to kind of be like, right, what's best for the club? If it's not me, I'm gonna go. So yeah, we'll have to see. I don't think the managers available at the moment are that great. There's no one that apart from Enrique that I look at and think I want him, you know. Even like existing managers in the league, like, I don't look at Arteta and think I want Arteta at City. Like, I don't. Like, is he a good manager? Yes. Is he doing well with Arsenal? Yes. Will he win the league this year? I think so, yes. But do I want him at City? No, you know. So yeah, it's just one of them things. We'll have to see what happens. We'll have to see who's available. Like I say, the club, they plan things quite far in advance. Like, they knew they wanted Pep from day one, you know. Even before they got Pellegrini, they knew they wanted Pep. I think they spoke to Pep and Pep said he was gonna have a year off. Then he went to Bayern Munich and then they wanted him for that long and then they agreed basically after he'd come to City. And Pep, like Pep's always said that, he's not finished yet. You want to get rid of me. I'm happy here. Like I have everything I want. His daughter lives in London. So I think he's quite happy to stay at City. Which obviously is great for us. But yeah, he needs to. It'd be nice for him to win like the Carabao Cup, because I feel like if he can win a trophy early, then I think the fans will go a bit easy on him. Because, like I say, it's not our match going fans. It's the online fans that are kind of on his neck. Like I will criticize him for what he does wrong. I have said on this stream plenty of times he's not utilized our squad as much as he should have done. And I think he's learnt the hard way with that. Now he's got players out for the season, etc., etc. Players out that probably might not have been out if they'd have been rested, rotated, for sure. But he's also, I know the club make the decisions, but they're also bringing in players. They're bringing in players that can win. There's been criticism of City over the past sort of 3 or 4 windows that they're bringing in talent. Like, talent isn't necessarily going to win you stuff in the here and now. It's going to develop for the future, and it's great because you get them in for like 20 million, and if they don't work out, you could probably sell them for 20 million. So it's not a big risk to get these players in, for sure. And they can do a job, and in the future they probably will be good players. But when, there's a title on the line and everyone expects you to win it because you're Pep Guardiola, you don't really have time to be like, well, Savio is going to be good in 5 years' time. You need a Semenyo who's here right now, who, can put the ball in the back of the net now, and then we can see what happens at the end of the season. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I think the club, obviously, we're in a rebuild. It's going a little bit faster than I would have thought. I would have thought that we would have kind of done it a little bit slower. I do think so many people will leave in the summer that there's going to be more signings in the summer for sure. But yeah, we're stuck between a rock and a hard place, because half of the fans want to win right now and want to continue and win the league every year and win the Champions League and this, that, and the other. And the others, they're like, well, we want to get this player and this player and this player, or we don't want to spend the money on Guehi. We don't want to spend the money on Semenyo. We don't want, and it's like, you can't have it both ways. If you want to win, you probably need to bring in players. Players nowadays are expensive. Do you know what I mean? If they're expensive, are they going to want to sit on the bench? No, they're not. So then you've got that problem, But I mean, having too many players is a good problem to have. It's always a problem that I'd want, especially after seeing some of our benches. If you watch City sort of in January, if you look at the benches, we had both Heskey brothers on the bench. So it's like, and not just them, So there's sort of 5 or 6, 50% of our squad for the Champions League is academy players, So we haven't got the biggest squad. A lot of people used to say, oh, City have 2 teams. We've never really had 2 teams, but we used to have at least 1.5. Now we have pretty much 1 with a few subs. So yeah, when everyone's fit, a little bit different, but there's never a time when everyone's fit. Stones is always injured. And if he's not injured, Kovacic is injured. And if Kovacic is not injured, Ake's injured. And it's constant, So it's, they can't rely on some of these players anymore. Pep has his favourites. He wants to play Bernardo every week. He trusts Ake. But it's like, at the same time, it's like, are they fully fit and are they gonna win us this game? And the answer 2 years ago would be different to the answer now. So yeah, we just have to kind of move on from some of the players and get some new, young, not too young that they're inexperienced, but some young, hungry players in, hopefully that are at the level that we need, because I feel like people have complained that we dropped off in the level. I know like people weren't too happy with Doku because they said, oh, he's not good enough, but De Bruyne is the reason why we got Doku. De Bruyne was the one that was like, you need to sign him. I like Doku. I think he's been much better this season. He still needs to have more output than he does. He definitely, he's got so much in his skill set, and I don't think he utilizes it as much as he could. So I think Doku is one that will get better and better. I think Savio will get better and better as well, but I'm not sure that he's not that now player. Like, if you have to choose between him and Semenyo, you're starting Semenyo every time. So whether he goes out on loan, or he gets sold, I don't know. But I'm not sure because he's a CFA player. I think I don't think he's going to go anywhere. But he might go on loan. We will see. And centre backs wise, I think we will stick with 5. So we've got Diaz, Vardiol, obviously the main 2, Kusanov and Guehi, the other 2. And then I think we'll keep one of Elaine or Rais. So yeah, Rais I think might be less likely to want to sit on the bench. So I feel like it might be Rais the one that goes. But yeah, that's what I think we'll be left with next season. What are we up to? Pep not utilising the squad is unheard of. He's normally competent in that regard, or has been at least. I think he trusted. I think he's being because his old team, like the treble winning team, because they were so successful, I feel like Pep really trusted them. So anyone he brought in, he trusted. I feel like he doesn't necessarily trust this team too much. Like I say, his comments around Kusanov have changed slightly. It's almost like he's appreciating him more now, whereas before it was kind of like, oh, he can play, he's good, but I don't know. Like, I might be wrong on this, but I just feel like he's kind of changed. Some of the comments that he makes now about Kusanov are a bit more like he trusts him. So I think that's why he's playing. Obviously, he has to play. There's no other options. But I feel like, yeah, it's not like he's reluctant to do it. And even like in that game, he took off Elaine. Didn't take Kusanov off. Obviously, that was the right decision. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I think he kind of trusts him a little bit more. He definitely has his favourites. Klopp had that problem, like I said earlier, in his sort of last sort of seasons at Liverpool, where he kind of had his starting 11 that he wanted to play. And, sometimes it's good because it's solid. And, we did go on a run of games where we didn't lose, we were winning every game, pretty much playing the same squad. And then a few got injured and then he had to change it. And the players that he's bringing in, because they weren't playing every week, they weren't as sharp. And then obviously it doesn't help that our better players in the team are also not in form at the same time, which is obviously Haaland, Foden, and Rodri's obviously not at full fitness yet. So yeah, it's not helpful. You want only one problem at a time, and I feel like we're having quite a few at a time. But yeah, I trust Pep. Like I say, I've always said this season, like if Pep is in with a chance at the end of the season, I will back Pep. But we cannot let that gap get any bigger. If that gap gets bigger, I mean, like a lot of City fans, they don't believe we would win the league. They've never believed all season that we're going to win the league, which is fair enough. We are in a rebuild. Some of the players that we've lost, like De Bruyne, they're not easy to replace. I'd argue he's irreplaceable. So to go from players like that to the players we've got now, it is a drop off, and I don't have the same standards for them as I had for your De Bruyne's and Rodri at full fitness, etc., etc. So yeah, we'll have to see what happens. But this team on paper are good enough to beat 90% of teams in the Premier League. We don't play Arsenal every week. We play your Wolves, your West Hams. We should be beating most of them teams. So when it comes to the big games, you can argue, oh, maybe we're not quite there yet, blah, 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 blah. But the other games, we should be winning these, especially at home. Like, most teams around the Prem, like any of the sort of big 6, your favourites everywhere, around the country. Most teams, unless you're playing another big 6 club, or maybe like someone that's in 7th or 8th that's having the season of their life, or they're unbeaten at home. There's some places that are hard to go to regardless. Nottingham Forest is one of them. It's not an easy ground to go to. Bournemouth, always tricky to go there. Brentford can be. So there are grounds around the country that aren't top 6 that are difficult to go to. but you're still expected to win them games, you know. So it's just, yeah, I expect us to be doing better than we're doing. I expect us to put the ball in the back of the net more than we're doing. And if we do that and it's close and we go into that sort of final stretch of 10 games and we're in touching distance, then anything can happen. But yeah, if it goes any bigger, it's over. It is over. But yeah, I just can't rule this out yet until, you know, as much as I don't think we'll do it. Yeah, it's just one of them. Going from Guardiola to Arteta is like going from a Range Rover to a Peugeot. Yeah, it's the drop off in expectations really, because I feel like Pep's very underrated for what he's done in England, and like I don't say that from a place of him. Obviously, he's regarded as one of the best, but I feel like the things that he's doing, you know, like it's not normal. It's not normal to win 4 in a row. Like Man United were by and far the best team in the league. They three-peated twice. They couldn't do the fourth one. You know, a treble. A treble is very, very difficult to be at your best in 3 major competitions in one season. It's not easy. It's very difficult. Do you know what I mean? And not only did he win a treble, that was a three-peat. He'd three-peated the league at the same time, you know. And I said this last year when I was talking to Ryan. You know, I was saying, you know, how it's not easy to retain a title, and Liverpool fans went into this season, we're going to retain it. And to be fair, after the window they had, I expected them to retain it because you won the league already. You've now invested heavily in your squad, bringing some great players in, and I expect you to kick on and go and retain it, you know. And they didn't. So it just shows how difficult it is to retain a title. Pep's not only retained it once, he's retained it 3 times. So it's his level and what we expect. Like people are pissed because Pep's not won the league for 1 year. Like, yeah, it might be 2 at the end of the season, but right now it's 1. He's not won it for 1 season. He won it the season before last. And people are like, they're not happy. So whoever we bring in, they're not, unless it's Enrique and he comes in and he gets his team and he just pulls out a masterclass, because he is capable of doing what Pep's done. He is, like, he's shown that he's capable of winning, you know, a treble and stuff like that. He has shown that. So yeah, I expect with someone like that, the level, I wouldn't expect the level to drop dramatically. Obviously he's got his, you know, bedding in period where he has to get his own players and change what he wants to change, etc., etc. But I feel like it's a smoother transition than it would be to move to someone else who plays a different style of football, wants different players. And yeah, it's going to be a long process. So yeah, if Pep can stay for another 10 years, I'm fully happy with that. But yeah, it will all depend on, I think, how this season goes. I think if he is trophyless again, I don't know how much longer he stays, you know, which is a shame. So yeah, I hope for Pep's sake he can win the league this year. If he doesn't win the league, hopefully another, you know, if he wins the Carabao Cup, then he probably needs to win another trophy as well, just because the Carabao Cup on its own is not really the best thing. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I hope Champions League would be great. But I do think if he wins Champions League, he walks. I think he says, "Look, I've done it all. Here's your Champions League. I'm off." Because he'll want to leave on a high. He will want to leave on a high. But yeah. I hope and pray that we do win one of the two. But yeah, we'll have to see what happens. But I will not go on anymore because I've been chatting your ear off for ages. So I do apologise for that. But yeah, I'll do another stream at some point, probably not after Boda, but I'll do one maybe next weekend. What day is it? This weekend we play Wolves. I'm gonna go home for that. So yeah, I'll probably do one maybe on Sunday. But yeah, I'll see you guys then. Thank you for right. Yeah, Arteta's the best manager in the league. But yeah, thank you for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And yeah, I'll see you on the next stream.